Check this out. I wrote out my intro. This is 111 Ways to Heal podcast. If you are into embodying sovereign and sacred living and believe that there are many ways to learn about yourself, this world, or universe overall, this is for you. I hope this serves you and your healing process. Welcome. I probably will keep tweaking my intro until I like it 1000%. And in the meantime, please let me know if you like this intro. I also can't wait to have a tune. I definitely will have one in future. Today is the day before full moon, and I love this cycle of interview and my little just channel of my message and topic on full moon, and then new moon is for interviews. So far I'm very happy. This is my 6th episode, and I'm really liking how this is capturing the essence of what I want this podcast to be. But I have so many plans and so many ideas to develop and grow, so I'm excited for this whole process overall. Thank you for listening and taking interest and having this experience with me. I feel like we're sharing so much if we are interested in similar things. I also am so grateful for people who share my experience or these topics in real life as well. I'm so grateful for meeting people who are interested in these topics, and I feel like as soon as I have become more comfortable to talk about this, I started meeting people that are loving these sort of conversations. How beautiful. And actually the indicator of that is how comfortable one of my oldest friends became talking about these things, and it's mainly from me expressing them in the first place and then realizing, because with some of them I'm so far away, and we've been friends for so many years, that it's that special feeling of, oh my God, these topics of healing and exploring universe and yourself are actually so relevant, and most of us go through them, but we don't share them. And I particularly also noticed it with closest friends that are just too far away from me in another continent, and we continued being friends obviously through years and sharing biggest moments in our lives, but then separately going through journeys of spiritual awakening or discovery of things, concepts, healing yourself. And obviously some of these things we've been sharing with each other, but some of these things we tend to keep to ourselves for some time, especially at the start, that being able to share that with friends that I know is super special and so reassuring and rewarding, to just know you're not alone, and some of your closest friends and people in your life know what that feels like. But it, in equal proportion, it also is so beautiful to meet a stranger, connect immediately or in time, and still realize I'm not alone in this. And the title of this podcast is obviously talking about the loneliness in healing, but it's also kind of just a title to get you into listening to this, because it's not just about being alone. It's a little bit about finding courage to let people into your life to share this journey with you. And look, I, for example, for a while had this deception that even though I am doing this alone, I was doing all of these things to connect with people, but it still has been a big illusion in my mind that I was alone. And I think this weekend that I've had so far actually helped me really closely see that, I think community is actually it was all about healing. is that like that completion of seeing your blind spots, or holding space for someone else, or experiencing the light and love when someone else holds space for you. And it's something that completes healing. So I feel like it's very common to say healing is very lonely. Nobody understands what I'm going through, or like I just need to shut down and like explore deep in within myself, or go to therapy, or read books and dive deep into yourself through meditations, other practices, breath work, and like again all of the things we will be talking about in podcasts. And again, there's so many of them. I don't have a number for them, so that's why it's 111. But I think as well, like the big component, big puzzle of all of this is community. And this weekend I was very privileged to experience this established, beautiful community of people who just come together to things like meditation in a forest, or beautiful yoga practice on the beach. But it's obviously more about like spiritual practice as well, to hold space for yourself. And therefore this sort of stuff attracts a particular type of people, obviously, who are going through healing. And for me, I think being in that community for the last 2 days at separate events, I realized this was like my puzzle completion moment, because in a way I have been creating this beautiful community through interviews for the book, and also just obviously just being part of other communities, like connecting with people in communities, like on Facebook groups and stuff, who listen to the same podcasts as I do, or stuff like that. And I find that, yeah, I think community is that puzzle that we deceptively underestimate. And I think I'm starting to like rumble a little bit about community, but I don't want to leave this, leave you with a message that it's something to overlook. Community is actually something to really look into. The path of like also just healing can obviously look very different for everyone. And I think it's a balance. Now that I've rumbled a little bit about community, I want to come back to the part where we do this hermity way of just healing and like going within and closing off. And it could be, by not going deep into conversations with people, or withdrawing ourselves from like social situations, which is such a big tendency to do, especially when you really need all of your energy to like work through therapy, or work through some things you're facing and in your life. And like sometimes it usually requires like that time just to be alone. And especially if you feel like all of your connections just take your energy and don't actually give anything back to you, or don't fulfill you as much. So something to be mindful of. See not just negative in going within, because that moment where you send all of the energy that you like share with everyone on a daily basis, if you talk to people on a daily basis, if you take all of that energy to yourself and you direct all of that to yourself, that's such a special time in our life. When else do we just focus on ourselves? When else is that not selfish? Like when you grow up in family, it's expected of you to, of course, to participate in this social contract of being part of a family. And it's very rare that we grow up as humans and don't get into long-term relationships where you are absorbed in another human being. For example, until I was 26, I was like that. I jumped from family to living with like my ex and being completely like dissolved in another human, because that's what you learn in families, and not really giving so much energy to myself, and of course like giving it to school or uni or work or your, I don't know, social circle. And up until then I did not know even the feeling of like having all of the energy just to you, like not having solo trips, for example. And I think it's something I've been really missing in my life. And when I finally had a chance just to have time to myself, and honestly, it was from the start of this year, because last year I was so actually wrapped up by all of my like friends and family softly holding space for me to grieve, to heal, to grow, that that was still not enough attention just to me. And when I finally had that time this year, it took healing, I think, like that space just to be with me. And all of that was actually also quite disciplined. Like I remember since February when I started doing this, I started doing exercises for eyes to relax and to kind of like train them back to see 2020, and like, you know, restore vision sort of exercises. And they took at least 3 hours out of my day, broken up into different like time slots. And the whole just motion of just sitting there, and it was combined with like times of meditation and thinking thoughts for you, for your body parts like your liver, your kidneys, your eyes, or any other things that bother you in your body, and just sending thoughts that you like, you're thinking about it, you love it, you just send loving thoughts to your parts, like to you. And I remember sitting doing that, and I was just thinking, like literally tearing up and thinking, wow, I am doing this for the first time in my life consciously. That was special to experience, special connection to build with self. That therefore I do believe there are parts of healing that require solitude, conscious solitude. And the other time when it felt quite solo was when I was surrounded by other people, and that was more of a just retracting the fullness of connection and keeping some things to myself. And that's different, and that does not feel right, because sometimes we do need it. Sometimes we realize that it's not safe to open up, or it's not going to be met with the right capacity to understand you, or in all honesty it's your just projection and expectation, and honestly you have no idea how capable other people are. But if it, you know, for some reason it doesn't feel safe, I would say either create that space for you to be solo, or find a community to hold space for you. Community is actually something I've always craved, and partially why I'm doing, I would say maybe 95% why I'm doing this podcast, is because I know how freaking important community is in our lives. Like, I know for me, community has done so much, because again, we developmentally we depend on being part of some sort of society, community, some sort of like organism of people, right? And I think now that we have online to build more communities, and they have like this unique essence of being super raw and still not really facing like on a daily the person. It's like little bite sizes of raw honesty or connection that open your capacity to do this more and more. Like today I was sitting and looking into strangers' eyes, sending love and like receiving love and support, and honestly, like it was difficult. How often do you sit next to a stranger and look into their eyes and like, I am sending you all the love and I'm receiving all the love and support, and so vulnerable to do that, like it's just not common. So I think like the internet kind of normalizes that for us to have those moments of raw just connection to a person on a video, and it's honestly obviously up to a person on that video to be that raw in the first place, which takes so much courage. Speaking for someone who like been on camera for the last probably 3 years, I look back at my videos and I just think, why am I like not being myself on that video? But it's scary. It's like, how common is it to come up to a stranger and be like, this is 1000% me, F off or accept me? If we don't, like, I don't know, we don't tend to do that. It's not an accepted, like, I don't know, maybe hopefully it is accepted, but it's more of like less exercised way of interacting. Oh, and that's why in a way I am craving to do this online in particular. Like I live in a pretty big city, and with my experience in community building and just my profession itself, I could definitely do something like face to face, which is beautiful, and I would love to eventually. But the first thing that actually makes sense to me the most is to do this online. And because I've also experienced communities online that just fully transformed my life, I of course would like to give back in the way that makes sense to me. And just so happens that I would like to start the community that first of all resonates with itself, and community that kind of realizes that I am your mirror and what you are seeing is you. Therefore, the other people who are seeing this, reacting to it in a similar way, having similar experiences, interacting with it, they are you as well. So it's more of a how beautiful is that videos online attract people on similar vibration, and then sometimes you like look at a video online and you look at the comment section and you just think, I love every single person in this comment section. And it doesn't even need to be spiritual. It could be just an incredibly sharp like comment section full of jokes commenting on the video, and you just read all of them and you just think, I love every single human being who took the time of their day to not just like obviously scroll with me online and just numb out for a bit, but also to freaking just share their intrusive joke that is so sharp, that's so amazing. And you just have this moment of like, I love people and I love comments online, these particular comments. And if it's that warm feeling, knowing sometimes content like this, content about healing, is by bringing people together who resonate to this, and not connect with me, it's like connect with each other. This is a platform. This is one of like 100 million platforms, probably 100,000 platforms that are currently available online. And the more organic these things are, in terms of like, it's a bit harder to connect with someone when there is like 10,000 comments under a video, even though super possible, especially knowing how timing works, how divine timing works, how things that are meant to happen. So like, of course one in a million chance to meet your soulmate on the street. Probably still will happen. Like, so trust in the process. Sometimes it's incredible to connect with some people on videos that are like 0, 10 views. But 10 people maybe have taken something out of it, and sharing what you have taken something out of it might not only help someone else to like see it from a completely different angle that I particularly potentially have not unpacked here, an opportunity for them to just get something from this, and from you to connect with someone else, or just share that message, give something back. Anyway, hopefully this inspired you to comment. But yeah, just wanted to chat a little bit about the lonely feeling of healing and how opposite community feels as a result. But that has its own time. I feel like everyone has their own timing. I think it's just very important to remember that community is always there when you're ready for it. Anyway, hope you have a beautiful day, beautiful sleep after today. I will see you in the next episode, which will be interview. And I wish that you have an incredible healing journey alone and with your community.